Hello and welcome to Blades in the Dark. I am your resident home of horrors, homesteader, homeowner of horrors, house of horrors, purveyor of houses, horrors of capitalism. Welcome. I'm Chris. And I am, in fact, able to string words together in a sentence with the exact same efficiency as always. And that's a promise. Welcome to this week's stream of the Brothers Honey Present Blades in the Dark. If you were not with us last week, then I am here to tell you about the goings-on, the happenings, the hip to the hip to the hippity hips, and nope, I've lost the other thing. There we go. See? Keeping the brand alive. So, last time on Blades in the Dark, we had some retribution. After Artie home was invaded and destroyed, their mother and bodyguard kidnapped, and just some general bad shit and bad magic doodads going on, the gang tracked the golems to the buried temple where Artie's family were being held, and they staged an epic rescue involving stealth, tension, more stealth, more tension, more stealth, more tension, and finally explosions and suplexing essentially a pillar. It was a great time. But the important thing is that we came away from it with everyone rescued, 8 golems buried in the swamps outside the city of Parlenar, and the beginnings of a plan. You see, before engaging on this adventure, before embarking upon this brave little escapade of rescue and retrieval, our group had set a few things in motion. Esra Abagini had spoken with his fence contact and confidant, Natalia, who was in the process of attempting to uncover additional secrets about the nefarious Councillor Matthias by exploring his now abandoned warehouse where his experiments were performed, as well as further investigations into the journal of experimentation that Esra was able to liberate from said warehouse. Montague Sharp, Red Monty, having been brought back into the fold by a mysterious benefactor, a spy named Athan, a man of a million faces and opportunities, is acting on Athan's behalf as Athan attempts to investigate the source of the phantasm plague that has been plaguing Parlenar. A mysterious illness that transforms latent fey magic in the blood of those who possess it into monstrous creatures. And finally, Artie, having escaped their home alongside their twin brother Paul, had sent Paul off to acquire help in the form of their patron family, the family of council leader Ava Hestine, one of the most powerful merchant families in the entire city. Now that we've returned righteous and another word beginning with R from our conquest of saving some people, I guess it's time to see what the fruits of those labours are. So, without much further ado, here are some fucking scoundrels! Hooray!
Hello.
Oh, dearie me, dearie me, dearie me. It is lovely to see you all again. It's been a little bit of a while. But tell me, and I think in game it's been a little while as well. We've had a couple of days downtime, time to relax, time to recuperate, before we come back together to plot our next move. Artie, how are things? How you feeling?
I don't think Artie would get a chance to relax. I imagine his mother's been dressing him up and down, left and right.
Well, you did say that as part of your, well, as people would know if they joined us on Patreon for the after show, that Artie has spent a lot of his time over the last couple of days, looking after their mother and trying to, if not make amends, then help them recuperate in a safe house, after their traumatic kidnapping by large stone golems, something that no one has ever seen in this world before. So yeah, that's fair enough if that's probably not overly restful. I can't exactly blame you for that.
Like the short moments where he's checking in on Hart is probably the most restful that Artie gets, because they really want to make sure like his valets and good friend are taken care of, but also family obligations.
That's very fair. That's very fair. And both your mother and Hart are recovering well under your ministrations. Other members of the family who were not home during the raid, so like cousins and people like that who don't live at the main family home full time, like you've been able to rally some of them as well, just to kind of keep the place safe and kind of help in making sure that your mum is taken care of when you go away to do things, and that Hart isn't left to deal with her whilst he is also still recovering. So that is all well and good. Esra, how you feeling? How you doing?
Esra's not been doing great. He is a bit shaken, and for reasons I'll get into, I'm sure. He's not really been sleeping very well. He's just, after the whole experience, he's happy that they succeeded in their goal, but he's just had a lot to think about.
Okay, that's fair. There can be a kind of heavy mind and a heavy heart after, stuff like that. That's fair. Well, I guess then that brings us on to Monty. How be, Senor Montague?
Monty has, as much as that last score was pretty intense, Monty has kind of just been taking it all in his stride and has been focusing on the practical things. He's been sticking around, trying to keep close to Artie, just be there as a useful presence, and I think that has probably manifested itself in helping with the repairs to the Yanis mansion.
Okay. I mean, I think we're not quite at repairs to the Yanis mansion yet. I think that would require safety first, but certainly.
Fair enough.
Yeah, certainly in terms of the
big guy.
Yeah,
I got a lot of strength. I can put to. He wants to try and put his strength to more productive and less destructive uses.
That's fair. Whilst also having been engaging in some training to get back to the same level as destructive as he used to possess.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
he doesn't want to, but he recognizes its use. Its need.
That is very, very fair, I think. Well then, since there's a lot of people. In fact, no, we're gonna start this session with the camera zooming out a little bit. That's not the music I want. Hang on. Chris is unsurprisingly struggling to find the right music because he never labels them all properly.
This is why I only ever use like the same 3 tracks.
Yeah, but I've got a list of 11, and I keep forgetting which ones I use. Oh, this is good.
Fair.
This is the vibe. This is the vibe. Okay, so camera is gonna zoom out a little bit, moving over to a more dilapidated part of the city. To a house all boarded up. To a single room in that house with a single small fire. Lit but banked. The embers maintaining their warmth, but the light being barely perceptible. In that barely perceptible light, a man with one regular arm and one arm a little bit interesting is going over a stack of papers, noting irregularities down in a small notebook at the side. Pleased with himself, he writes down a missive covering 2 sides of paper, which he folds meticulously, places in an envelope, and hands to a nondescript, slightly scruffy gentleman standing next to him, who inclines a small bow and disappears. Monty, before heading out to the Annises...
Put that eyebrow away.
Sorry.
Before heading over to try and make yourself useful... Before heading over to the Annises to try and make yourself useful each day, you do, of course, start your day with your chores around the orphanage, playing with the kids, looking after Mrs. Doherty, and tending to your general requirements. Having wrapped up that portion of your morning, you head back to your room just to grab your gear before heading out, and you see that there is a letter sat on your pillow with a smudged grey seal.
Repeat bastard. Monty picks up the envelope and kind of like turns it a little bit to see if he can hear anything shifting inside, just in case.
Nothing.
He's a suspicious man by nature.
That's valid. That's entirely valid. And you have chosen...
Satisfied that it's not about to spray some kind of poisonous powder in his face.
Yeah.
He breaks the seal with a thumb and reads the letter.
The introduction of the letter is fairly simple, and it simply states, to Montague Sharp, I believe the below information may prove valuable in the locating of Councillor Matthias. Below are a series of observations regarding a few buildings in the city, their current tax status, hours of operation, money spent, planning permission for a few of them that looks very peculiar, and a general listing of the types of, kind of things which on their own might be, perfectly normal, spending of a slightly eccentric, very wealthy merchant. But altogether, with the information you have, might suggest facilities being utilized for something nefarious.
Okay, what Monty is going to do is he's going to take that letter and he is going to take a piece of paper from his very small desk, a desk that is comically small for a man his size.
Yeah.
And he's not going to copy the letter. but he is going to transcribe the information in a much less well put together way to try and make it seem like this note was received by someone who was as observant, way less educated.
Sensible. Alright. That seems very sensible. Right. Well, whilst you're doing that, on the other side of the city, in an attic bed in a breaker's yard, Esra lies staring at the ceiling. Ezra, you've not spoken
Not having a great time.
Yeah, you've not spoken to Natalia for a couple of days. Basically, you haven't seen her since the rescue mission. You know she leaves certain. You know that she leaves certain signs when she's home to be visited. So.
Yeah.
I'm going to casually suggest that it might be plot relevant to go and see if they're there.
Yeah, I think I probably check every 2 days or something, and today I'm like, well, I haven't heard from Artie or anything, or Monty for the next step, so I'll go check if Natalia's willing to talk.
That sounds very
Or has something for me, basically.
Yeah.
So I go do that.
The signs are out. She is home for business. And you make your way to her apartment. On your way up at the lift. Yeah, now you said after the last mission there was camaraderie, there was joie de vivre almost, there was the glory of victory kind of pulling people together. But Ezra's been a little bit put out since. So, do you want to tell me a little bit about that, or do you feel like it's gonna come up later?
Well, I feel like shortly after that, we all sort of went our own way, because obviously Artie, we made our way back to the city, but Artie was dealing with the people that we rescued, and Monty was going with Artie, and I didn't really have a place to go with them, so I just sort of went my own way when we got back to the city. It will come up, but he's mostly feeling a bit of guilt.
Okay.
And there's a lot of complex things going on in his head that he's thinking about.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
He's thinking about the next time he sees Monty.
Interesting. Well, with such complex...
And I'm sure that will come up.
Yeah. Well, with such complex feelings swirling inside him, the lift arrives at the penthouse floor, and you make your way into Natalia's gorgeous apartment, which is unusually covered in bits of paper. Just stacks of neatly ordered paper on most available surfaces, and a map pinned up on one wall. Natalia is standing there not in her usual business attire, but rather in more outdoorsy clothes. Kind of rugged boots, hard-wearing trousers and jacket, hair pulled back, and not her kind of traditional femme fatale character that she plays when engaging in business.
Yeah.
As you come in, she turns to you and goes, "Well, I'm presuming that you were successful?"
Yes. It went actually maybe as good as it could have, given the circumstances.
Well, that is a relief. And I take it that they are on side when it comes to this Matthias creature. She says that with a venom that wasn't there the last time that you spoke to her.
I note it, and like in my head, and continue on. Yes, well, none of us like that little bastard, as far as I can tell. And we are all pretty much in line with the same goal now.
Good.
Which is stop what is going on, stop what he's doing. In other news,
yes?
I did manage to get a boat.
She breaks out in a beatific smile. And then it kind of falls for a second as she's like, we may need it sooner than we'd hoped. I think there's war coming,
Yes,
Ezra.
well, let's hope not. But it's there if we need it. Me and Mickey have been fixing it up for the last few days, but no one should notice that it's gone. It should be months at least if anyone notices, and if we need to use it, I expect we'll be using it sooner than that.
I'd imagine so. Well, as I said, it looks like the families might be going to war. And it looks like Matthias has been planning on this for some time. Let me tell you what I found. She draws you over to the map, and she points at a bunch of red circles that she's drawn over patches of the sea. And she said, now I appreciate these random patches of ocean might not mean a lot to you, but these are the sites of 3 very expensive undersea expedition sites. Now, undersea exploring is obviously still quite a new science, although it has allowed us to retrieve minerals and substances that were previously unimagined, and has allowed huge advances in our technology. A lot of the electroplasmic technology that we are familiar with in the modern day and age comes from the first undersea exploration. You know, kind of bits of that. Like, everybody's aware of like the first submariner, who was named Abe Johnson, because I can't come up with a whiter name. Abe Johnson, the submariner, who was something of a hero. He designed the first functional submersible craft, which and he didn't get to the bottom of the ocean, but he got pretty far. And
Was it like a submarine or like a dive bell sort of situation?
Closer. This was kind of closer to a dive bell, but we're reaching into kind of like submersible territory. Obviously traditional dive bells had been around for a little while for people who wanted to go and fish for stuff, but this was something that was fully sealed and could go all the way down, but it wasn't self-propelling the same way that a submarine would have been. It was more like a kind of drop itself down through systems of ballast and then be pulled back up, a dive bell. So that was the idea. But again, it allowed far deeper exploration than had previously ever been possible. It's a big deal. But now that there are submersible vehicles that can in fact reach the bottom of the ocean, there has been a lot of money put into this venture, because some of the things that have been brought back have been quite remarkable. Now, there are significant dangers in any kind of deep sea travel, particularly in a world where not all creatures are just sharks and squid.
There's some space shit down there.
Exactly. And so there's a lot of territories that need to be respected in the ocean. There are contracts between different fae and humans to allow traversal of the fae's territory. It's part of the kind of the whole the whole business of the sea, I suppose, in this world are these kind of contracts of obligation and assurance and safety, and it means that when humans do transport things across the ocean or do harvest things from the ocean, they have to repay certain things to be granted safety, essentially. Now, that, particularly when applying to submariner exploration, deep sea exploration, gets very pricey, because again, the creatures who live at the bottom of the ocean are not the same ones that live at the top.
Yeah.
So, there's not a lot of sites, essentially, for deep sea exploration. But here are 3. And the important thing, Natalia explains to you, is that these 3 were all financed by Matthias. And now Matthias has a lot of money, but like, that is an that's the modern day equivalent would be somebody not only like building, you know, a space rocket company, but like launching 3 space rockets in, you know, the space of a year, like for like manned missions into space.
Very expensive.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that only the ludicrously self-interested would engage in. Because most more cautious or sensible business people would be far more like wouldn't take that kind of risk, because if it goes wrong, you get nothing. You know, if your submarine craft is destroyed, or if you go to deal with a fae and you haven't got anything that the fae is interested in to bargain with, then you don't get access to that piece of ocean. You've wasted your time. You've wasted millions. So this is like a lot of interest from one.
Ezra
merchant.
looks at the map and goes, if he's willing to go to all that effort, spend all that money, there's no way that this was random. He was looking for something specific.
That's what I'm thinking. And you remember from the journal, the bloodstone. He said it came from under the ocean. I think that's what he found. I don't know why he was looking for it. I haven't found that information yet. But I think this is where he found it.
Yeah. Question is, how did he hear about it? Or was it an accident?
That's what I'm still looking into. Now, I have managed to speak with a few of the ship captains who ran some of the expeditions. They won't remember me talking to them, but I managed to get some useful information out of them. Now, when they were tasked with these explorations, and bear in mind none of these captains were the ones who negotiated the contracts with the Fae in these regions, but when they were sent down there, they were explicitly advised that the purpose was gathering rare minerals, essentially. Now, as with any exploration, there wasn't really a great deal of information about what a rare mineral might look like beyond something you've not seen before. So, a lot of
I
guesswork
guess
and
the Bloodstone would qualify.
yes. Now, none of these captains seem to have been involved in specifically the Bloodstone, but one of them did mention that occasionally they would carry messages between the Fae whose region they were essentially visiting and the mainland. So there was communication between Matthias and these deep sea Fae.
Do we have any idea what the messages were?
No. They were apparently all paid considerably to not be curious about such things.
Fair enough. So this might not be one asshole looking to make a profit at the misfortune of other people. It could be something much bigger.
It could be someone...
If it wasn't just Matthias getting lucky, one of these deep sea Fae could have been behind all of this and is just using Matthias as a tool, a means to an end.
It is possible. So...
God, let's hope not.
Let's hope not indeed. I've got some more places to look and some more information to gather. A few untapped sources to discuss. Try and look into maybe a little bit more about these deep sea Fae and what might have tipped Matthias off to the existence of the stone. But that's what I've got so far.
Is it three separate Fae, or
I'm not
are they all?
certain.
Do we know who controls those regions?
My gut tells me it should be 3 separate Fae.
Right.
Purely because I've never met a Fae who was powerful enough to control 3 such disparate regions. Like, they're not... Obviously, the sea is one large open plain to us, but to them it's obviously a series of interlocking regions. And these 3 areas all appear to be quite separate. So, I would be surprised if it was all the one... all the one territory. But... we don't know.
That makes me put my money on Matthias being the one behind this.
Yes.
I mean, here's hoping that he was looking for the Bloodstone and got unlucky twice, and not that he found 3 separate things that he was looking for.
Her face kind of drops when you say that, and she goes, "Oh God, let's hope not. Let it be just one, but it is important to note that he did find it on purpose, and that he's been building up to whatever this is."
Yes, if there's something equal to the Bloodstone that he might have gotten, this could get a lot worse, a lot fast.
Well, he already
Although the
has...
research notes don't suggest that, so
I'm
I'm gonna
hoping...
just treat it as a theory for now. We should assume it's just the Bloodstone that we're dealing with.
Let's just hope that the only thing he's going to bring to bear in this war are soldiers made of stone.
Let's hope so. A lot of hoping we're doing today.
Well,
He exhales, just releases a lot of tension and goes,
yeah.
"Got a drink?"
For you?
He looks tired, you can tell that he
Yeah.
hasn't been sleeping as well. He's kind of as disheveled as Natalia is just now.
That's fair. Well, she looks on him kindly. It's like, "For you, always. Come here." She takes you through to the kitchen. Which I think brings us nicely round to Artie. So, Artie, also I think probably looking a little dishevelled, as you said, from the lack of rest and lots of caring essentially, for the people in your life, you get a knock on the door.
Or he's like taking the moment to have a moment to himself and pouring a glass of whiskey. He's like, come in.
One of the kind of lesser family stick their head in. A younger lad called James sticks his head in and goes, it's your brother here to see you, boss.
Ah. Okay. Yes. Send him in, please.
Okay. Paul comes in, removes a travelling cloak and hat, parks himself down and goes, well, you look like hell.
Thanks. I've been there.
Well, given that you just...
However, Mother is safe now at least.
Well, I thought that was the hell you were referring to.
Oh, no, that was the past.
Well, you did a damn good job. In the meantime, I have some news. The families are getting busy. It seems that Matthias's attack on the family was poorly concealed enough that it's been taken as an act of open aggression. So, the Hestines have rallied their faction. A bunch of the eastern families are currently gathering their factions. And Matthias is hunkering down, and the council looks about ready to go to war.
I see.
So it's big, Artie.
At present moment, the Yanis's are
We're at the game. Well,
a bit...
not completely.
Yes, but it does kind of put the kibosh on our plans somewhat.
Not necessarily. I have an idea. So,
What?
You've obviously, in a, I like to think a brotherly sort of fashion, ribbed me about my upcoming nuptials.
Well, when it comes to matters of love, I am merely an amateur.
But when it comes to matters of boxing dragons in a large cage, I could equally be described as an amateur. But these two unique skill sets of ours might be our ticket in both the long and short game. You see, no faction on the council yet has sufficient power to outmatch the others. Your Ishak Hafiz, having rallied a collection of the mining families and some of the more prominent banking families together on the eastern side, has an alliance at least as strong as anyone else on the council. Now, if we were to, let's say, facilitate a friendship between himself and Ava Hestine, who, although not the largest faction, not a big enough faction to sway the tide on anyone, does currently lead the largest faction on the council, we might have the manpower to take the fight straight to Matthias and prevent this from turning into a long and drawn-out conflict. If we can take Matthias and his rebel faction, any other small clusters will fall in line straight away, things calm down, and you and I have sufficient backing to set up on our own as the people who made the deal that ended the war, with what will soon be the two strongest families on the council in our pocket. We can walk away and Mum won't be able to do a damned fucking thing.
Artie just kind of looks at. Takes us. It's always down to friendships, isn't it? They're so messy.
Well,
I may be able to speak to Hishak. We've managed to progress to a first name basis. I honestly will never forgive Mother for the whole Magus thing, honestly. Yes, there are benefits to this plan, but we need more information on Matthias's bases, as it were.
we do.
In order to be able to really?
Well, I'm agreeing with you. I can bring you as much political intel as you need. That's the area that I've got access to. And I can tell you what's going on, and I can tell you that if we can put the Hafiz and the Hestines together into a room and get them on the same side, then we can win. However, the curveball is whatever the fuck Matthias has in these warehouses or these cages or these fucking stone golems or whatever it is he's doing. So,
I think, actually, Paul, one thing that may be to our benefit. Rally the members of the family that have no Fey lineage, if possible.
you'd be struggling to find a whole family with enough power to have a rallying force. I might be able to find some minor families who've done some dirty jobs for us.
It's a start.
All right.
I think we may need a strike squad.
I'll look
Cannot
into it and see
be
what I can do.
interfered with.
Alright, I'll look into it and see
Also,
what I can
Mum
do.
sends her regards if you want to go say hi.
Absolutely not. Bye!
Oh,
Can't stay. Fiance, you know, responsibilities. Gotta go. Love you.
no. You forgot your hat.
He goes back, grabs the hat,
Helmet.
and waves at you as he sweeps out the door.
Man's a cunt.
All right.
He takes, he finishes off his glass.
Mm.
Waits for the bell to ring for him to be shouted on.
So, Monty, I'm presuming that you would be heading over to the safe house anyway.
Yeah.
And I think it is not unreasonable, given the information that Natalia has uncovered, that
I would want to share with her as possible.
yeah, that there might be a general suggestion that some of it should be shared with your allies, and certainly see if they have anything to add to the information that might be helpful. So I'm gonna.
I mark the locations on like a tourist map that I buy on the way, and I mark the locations down where she said.
Excellent. Perfect. In which case then, as you are walking and marking and walking, you bump straight into Montague Sharp, one of the other people presently walking the streets in the daylight. Although again, streets that have already been swept this morning, so you're pretty sure you're safe.
Yeah, I was like looking down because I was drawing like on the map. I just sort of fold up and put it in my pocket. I go,
Bloody hell, I gotta put a bell on you.
yeah. So you see it. He's like, just like bags under his eyes. He's like, usually his hair's all neat and his like shirt's all pressed and everything. He's like disheveled. His hair doesn't look like it's been combed. And when he sees you, you notice he doesn't make eye contact. He just sort of like, he seems a little fidgety. It's like, Monty, hi.
You alright, Ezra?
Yeah, I was just heading to the safe house because I got some info that might be useful.
Are you on something?
No, absolutely not. Do you think we could have a conversation? I've been wanting to talk to you. I've just not really had a good time to.
Well, you look like you've just been dragged out of the harbour, so...
Yeah,
Come on.
he tried like sort of like uses his hand, tries to like flatten out his hair a little bit because it's like he didn't notice.
Monty kind of grabs Ezra by the sort of shoulder, sort of scruff of the back of the neck, and kind of leads him into a building that Monty knows doesn't have anyone in it. Just one of the many buildings that has ended up having to be abandoned because of, I'd imagine, some pretty unfun landlords in this time.
This one, it
Among other
used to
things.
be, I'm going to say for sake of ease, that this used to be an open air market. That's essentially been
Somewhere
boarded
out
up.
of sight where we're not going to be disturbed.
Yeah,
That's
so
all I need.
yeah, and easy to access, and there wouldn't be anyone in it.
Yeah. Monty kind of grabs a box, pulls it over, gestures to Ezra, and then grabs one for himself.
Yeah, Ezra sits down, sort of like clasping his hands and fidgeting a little bit.
Seriously, are you on something? Because if you are, I need to know.
No, I'm just not used to. I want to talk to you. I want to be real with you for a minute, if you'll allow me.
Makes a change, why not?
And I would. This is difficult for me. I would appreciate it if you would just let me get through what I have to say. I'm not used to relying on people. I'm not used to being relied on either, really. And I know you have a distaste for me, but despite that, the other day, you saved my life. You didn't have to save my life. It would have been very easy for me to be left there and for mission success regardless. And it's just got me thinking, I'm not really that useful in a fight. if you had just grabbed the bomb, stuffed it in that pillar, and fucked off, I wouldn't have blamed you. But you helped me, and you trusted me to get the job done. You know, and I'm not good in a fight, so I would have died there if you hadn't stuck around. You know, I could take a punch, but I'm much better at, you know, throughout my life, I've had to take a punch. I've always been better at getting a bigger guy on my side rather than fighting myself. And, you know, I had to fight growing up. We didn't have much. My dad scraped by. My mom died when she was young. When I was young, sorry, and you know, I didn't know what to do with myself. When she died, my dad didn't really know what to do with himself. He just made enough money to keep us going. But my mother, she was an angel. She used to work in one of those little speakeasies. You know the ones that, you know, like to have the vibe that they were a big secret, but really everyone knew about them and they just paid the blues to look the other way. She was the star. Her name is Esmeralda. They called her the Emerald. One of the only memories I have of her is my dad took me to watch her perform. And she shined on stage. And I knew that I wanted to be like her. Now you might guess this with the whole Dragon Slayer thing, but don't laugh. I wanted to be a magician. It was my dream. I watched a sleight of hand show when I was, God, 7, 8, and I fell in love. During school, I scraped up money from working jobs when I was like 13 to buy sets, to buy like one set of like a trick deck of cards, a set of handcuffs so I could practice lock picking, things like that. And my father always told me it was a waste of time. He wanted me to, you know, be a Sparky like he was. You know, he worked on a lot of the electroplasma stuff, and it made decent money, but only as much money as someone like us can get from work like that. When I graduated, I told him I wanted to do it as a job, and he did not like that. He kicked me out for it pretty much immediately. There wasn't much of an argument. I kind of saw it coming. But I had this friend, Mickey. He always looked out for me. And I found out that his brother was in this gang. They would look out for us, you know. Trent was his name, and Trent, Mickey would poke fun at him. He always called him a Robin Hood. He always liked to, you know, he always said that he only hurt people that deserved it, and he would always look out for us. He was gonna give back to his community, you know. And at the time, I mistakenly assumed that the gang he was in was all the same. But you know, I managed to do my dream. I was a magician. I only did like kids' birthday parties, but I was doing it. I was making money. I worked a few other jobs on the side, but it was pennies compared to what I was getting. And that's when I met Herbert. I don't know if you've heard of the Phantasm.
Yeah.
His real name is Herbert Brunswick.
His name's Herbert.
Herbert. He was handed everything his entire life. I don't think he's worked a day in his life. I scrounged for one set of cards, and he was bought elaborate sets with daddy's money. And he got training from people, the masters of misdirection. And I know all this because he told us all repeatedly. I got picked up by an agent. I got very lucky. Someone noticed talent in me, and Herbert was also under the same agent, and he hated that. He hated me for being who I was, from where I was, and daring to step into the same arena as him, basically. And it came to a head when I got my big break. I opened for Phantasm at one of his shows, and he was livid. At the time, I loved that I pissed him off, because I never thought he was going to do anything about it. This is before he shot into stardom, mind you, and I probably would have too after that show. But my trick was basically I was handcuffed and put into a tank of water, and I had to escape. It was thrill, for the audience. It was a very simple trick. They would cover up, and then I would come flying at the top. It was as simple as I hid a bobby pin in my hair, and I just was going to pick the locks. It wasn't a complicated trick, but for this crowd, it was about the show. Herbert, I was so nervous that night. I was shaking. My hands were shaking, that I didn't notice that when he came up to me to pat me on the back, to wish me luck, he nicked it out of my hair. I don't remember much from the rest of the night, just panic and almost drowning. But I heard that the Phantasm made the entire room laugh at how pathetic I was. He always was good at crowd work. And my agent basically told me I'd never work again. My dream died like that because someone who had more than me couldn't stand for me to be on the same level as him. And my agent was right. I couldn't get any showbiz gigs. I had to scrape by on the pennies that I got from washing dishes and the like. But it was Trent that made me realize skills I learned, they weren't a waste. Picking locks is always better than kicking a door in. So he got me into his life. And to be honest, I would love to tell you the sob story that I got into it out of necessity because I was poor, I had nothing else, but I loved it. I was good at it. It's something I'm good at. And I loved fucking over the people that fucked me over my whole life. At my heart, I'm a thief. It's who I am. And I know that now. I've known that for a long time. I maybe didn't when I started over, but that's who I am. And I got by like that with Trent's help. And then one day he crossed the wrong person. I don't know the whole story, but some asshole was fucking with an old lady down the corner convenience shop, and he kicked the absolute shit out of him. As he should. What he didn't know was this guy was the nephew or cousin or something of some other gang. And the next day they found Trent with his head caved in on the curb, just left on the street. There was a few guys that Trent was always with, and after he died, they were just gone. I couldn't find them anywhere. But Trent was the only reason that we were scraping by, so I went to the gang that he was a part of to ask for help. And they told me they had never heard of me. They told me to fuck off. They told me to fuck off after they gave me a pretty severe beating. And you've been in that life. You know as well as I do, you can't trust anyone. You can't rely on anyone in that life. And I learned that the hard way. You know, I made something of myself. I got connections. I got to a point where I could live on my own, but I grew numb to the way that I affect people. I label people quickly. I've come to realize as deserving of any effects that I might have on their life. And based on your past, I thought this guy's gonna betray me eventually, so I might as well betray him first. And that was wrong. You're a good man. Your past doesn't define you. And I can tell that you're trying to make up for that past, or at least that's what I think. I took my frustrations out on the wrong person, and I shouldn't have. I want to apologize for that. I should have considered you for who you are now, instead of throwing you to the side, assuming that you would eventually betray me yourself. I'm hoping you can forgive me eventually, but I know words on its own won't cut it. I just had to say this to you. I hope you can understand. And he just kind of like puts his head in his hands.
Monty sits there for a moment, and then wordlessly reaches into a pocket, pulls out a canteen of water, and passes it to Esra.
Thanks. He takes a drink.
You know, lad, I was born in these streets. Grew up in a gutter. Never really knew my family, just day one. I was there on the streets, me, a couple of other kids. And there was rules. Never seems like it, but there's rules. And the first rule is you don't shop your mates. Because you're wrong. You think you can't trust anyone, but it's wrong. You have to pick the people that you trust, and you have to hang on to them for dear life. Because they're all you've got. Because nobody survives for too long on these streets. I've been round the block a bit more than you have, lad. And you're absolutely right to judge me for what I've done. I reckon I've killed more people than you've ever met. I don't deny it. I'm not proud of it. Not anymore. But I did those things. But the other thing you got to understand, mate, is that you've never met Red Monty. You've never met that monster. You've never met that kid who grew up on the streets, only surviving because he could hit just that little bit harder than anyone else. Those kids who grew into a gang came out to be the scariest bunch of cutters you ever saw. Do you know why I look after those kids?
No.
Is that my fault? Most of those kids are in that orphanage because of me. Either because I killed their parents or I got their parents killed. That's why. That's the thing, mate. You said I'm a good man. You really haven't got a bloody clue. Because, yeah, I'm trying to make the world just that little bit better while I'm here. But I've got no illusions. There's no atonement for me. I've done terrible things. Truly terrible things. If there's a hell, I'm going. But if I can make the world a little bit better while I'm here, why not? Because I made mistakes. I chose the people to trust, and they pulled me into the wrong things. Because here's the thing, you mentioned your mate Trent. Got his head kicked in. About this tall, scruffy brown hair. Hell of a smile.
Like several different emotions show on his face at once, and he goes, "Yeah, did you know him?
In passing.
Trent Burke."
Trent Burke. I remember him. Decent lad. Alright in a fight. We ran a couple of times together. I remember hearing about his death. Because it was Roslov that told me. He always did the thinking. He always did the planning. Knew how things worked. And I said to him, somebody's killed one of our lads. We got to go and do it back. But he says to me, he says no. He says no, the people who did this are just too big a fish. And I followed him. I stuck with what he said because that's what I've done all my life. But you need to understand, kid. I take this from someone who is much older and has made way more mistakes than you have. You're not in this alone. You need to pick your crew. Because if you do it yourself, you're just going to wind up dead. You're going to wind up dead, having done no good in the world. Or if you're really unlucky, you wind up like this. And Monty rolls up the sleeve of his jacket and exposes the wide array of burn scars all the way up his arm.
Right.
I ran with the gang. I had the tattoos, symbols, everything. A few pretty recognizable scars. And I did something terrible. Something that made me stop and realise I need to leave. I faked my death. I broke that one rule. I ran away. I left this city for the first time in my life and thought I would never look back. I burned off the tattoos and burned away the scars to keep me that would help people recognize me. I know there's a hell. I've been there. And if I can stop someone else going through that, I reckon that's a pretty good mission. Right then.
Ezra, I think since he mentioned Trent, Ezra's been like, rather than like looking away from him nervously, he's like been looking him dead, like in the eyes. And he goes, neither of our pasts are who we are.
No.
He said we have to choose. I have to choose. He stands up and he reaches his hand out for a handshake, goes, I'd like to choose you.
Bloody fool that you are. And Monty takes your hand. Yeah, on.
Shall we? And he looks.
We got work
like,
to do.
He stands up straight, like he was sort of like slouching the whole time. He stands up straight again with that confidence, and just sort of goes, fixes his collar. Let's
Now,
go.
I'm going to tell you this right now. You and I are going to probably have to endure a little bit of mockery for that, because I bet my fucking boots that bloody bird is up there somewhere listening.
He looks around. Ezra reaches into his pocket, pulls out a bag of jerky, and goes, "Here, boy." And he waits for him.
Very.
Has Fletch been keeping tabs on us?
I heard that from the other room. It was a.
And he just sort of like leans his head back in exasperation and goes, "Ah."
One of the bits of jerky is
Oh,
just plucked.
Fletch is fully on your shoulder, like eating your jerky.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just with like making like little kind of like chirpy noises and like little feather ruffles of like cheerfulness.
Ezra's actually like, because he's thinking back on what he just said, he's kind of blushing a little bit. He's like, "I'll give you more if you don't tell, Artie."
Yeah, mate. You know that's not going to work.
I don't think that's how that works.
I don't think there's enough jerky on this fucking island to stop.
They both just kind of sit and laugh for a bit.
Oh,
Come on.
dear.
Yes, sir. And they head on to the safe house.
Wonderful. All right. Well, we make our way to the safe house, and I believe we have some information to share.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. We both have information to share.
I
Yeah.
think everybody has some information to share, which is pretty good.
I think we didn't tell each other before that because of that conversation. We both
Yeah.
walk in at the same time and go, "I've got
Well,
something."
I've got something to show you.
Artie's kind of got his sleeves rolled up with like a towel over his neck, and he's kind of looks up and goes, "Hi." Oh, hey Fletch, how you doing?
Not one bloody word.
He just sort of
You've got
like,
a secret.
he just sort of like rubbing his brow, like, "Oh god."
How much jerky do I need to get you? What have you two done to my bird?
It's not important.
Really wished I hadn't given up drinking.
Good thing I haven't.
Oh,
Ugh.
the canter's there. Help yourself, I suppose.
You go
Right.
first, then Monty, and I go and pour myself a drink.
Right. So I've been asking about a couple of lads that I used to know from the old days. Just, little lads, street rats, kind of keeping an eye on things, you know. And my boy Thin Jimmy gave me this. I'm gonna hand over the not quite a copy of the note that I got from Athan.
Yeah.
The one that's, the version I took that is now that has been translated into slightly rougher street speak.
Okay. All right.
So, but it's the same information, but trying to conceal that it came from someone like Athan.
Okay. I will say that given the types of information I said to you were in that letter, I'm not sure Street Rat was the right cover. Given it's all the kind of information you would get from like a city planner's office and like a financial auditor. So do you wanna talk me through how you have provided that information?
Ezra actually, just by the way, real quick, Ezra goes, "Oh, Finn Jimmy, that's where I get my jerky from." I call him Slim Jim, but
Fuck!
He likes to snap his jerky.
was that not an intentional joke?
No, it wasn't. It was a name that I think I pitched out of a Doctor Who episode.
So funny.
Well, I mean, he keeps trying to fend off this one seagull called Randy, who's just an absolute savage. It's disgraceful.
Okay, I think we've peaked. We just quit while we're at.
All right. That was the stream, guys. Let's go home.
All right, bye everybody. So again, Monty is not the big thinker. Like he's not stupid, but he's not got the level of intelligence and spycraft needed to pull off something like this properly.
Okay. In which case,
so
then,
the answer is how I've done this is not perfectly.
well, not perfectly. All right.
I've tried to phrase it in sort of like observations of areas.
Okay.
And we've been watching these buildings for a while. So I've seen things.
Right. I caramba. I'm torn as to how we do this. If this were D&D, I would call for a contested skill check.
Yes, it would be deception versus insight.
Yeah. Now, Blades in the Dark is not really... We could do like a kind of PvP type thing in that regard. Set out what the consequences are, what happens depending on who wins, and then
like
roll.
Sway versus study or something.
So we could, or alternatively, given that we've admitted that Monty is not the most spycraft-esque of deceivers.
No.
Vari, I suppose the question really is, would Artie be default suspicious enough to pick up on this doesn't sound like some weird street thing? Or do we think Artie is currently exhausted and in safe company that he would not be default suspicious enough? That's my question.
Has Monty proved himself trustworthy enough?
Monty has, his informants haven't.
Okay, so we're like, as soon as Monty said this was from a third party, we default back to Artie as, a criminal who has survived a very long time and gotten to a place of significant authority and is therefore deeply suspicious of everything.
Tell you what,
Only the paranoid survive.
if you let it play out, I have an idea. It might make it interesting.
Alrighty then.
I think I know what Artie's next long-term project is going to be.
Oh no.
No.
Not gonna be that long a term of project. It's just gonna be, hi, Jimmy.
So, in which case,
Down
then,
to the mines with you.
in Monty's rough hand, which Artie's not familiar with because they haven't witnessed Monty writing anything, is a letter detailing a number of buildings in the city, seemingly from an observer's eye view, talking about construction work, talking about people going in and out but nothing necessarily seeming to be done with them, or people going in and out who don't appear to be there for the purposes that the building is advertised for, and all of these buildings apparently being noted to have someone bearing Councillor Mathias's emblem, or Councillor Mathias's emblem being present somewhere in the building. Just general kind of like loose ties from an observer, kind of oddly detailed in some regards, around like how long this has been going on for, and allusions to kind of money being spent on buildings, and lots of repetition of the phrase, "It seemed strange to me, but..."
There's a couple of weirds thrown in there for flavour.
Yeah. It's as expected of a street level informant. It's not got a wide vocabulary, so it is a bit repetitive, but it is also quite specific, which maybe seems a little bit odd for a street level informant.
This is quite interesting information you have here, Monty. Who was your informant?
No, I told you it was my boy Thin Jimmy. He's a beggar.
Not a jerky salesman who
And
fights
when did you meet
seagulls.
him to get this information?
What? Sorry,
When
you're
did
talking
you meet
what?
him to get this information?
This morning.
Really?
Yeah.
As like while you two are like having this conversation, Ezra's just sort of like leafing over it, being like, "Oh, interesting."
Montague, you wouldn't be lying to me now, would you?
No, boss. I can vouch for this information.
Oh, that's a shame. Okay. Thank you for this information. I will see to it being used in the most advantageous way. Fletch. And I feed him some of the mold jerky.
He doesn't believe a fucking word I just said.
You'll need to tell me about your adventures today, Fletch.
Fletch has been working me all day.
Well, I suppose before Fletch needs to share all that information with you, Esra also has something for you.
After that, I just sort of put down this tourist map on the table and unfold it. So, and you see there's like 3 red marks written on it, and I just sort of, I'm not going to go over it again, but I just sort of explain briefly that like these are 3 like areas where Mathias undertook very expensive undersea expeditions, and we think that's probably where he found the Bloodstone.
Again, the general.
Where did he have the money for this?
Beats me.
Hang on, he's a dive size.
Mm-hmm. He goes, I'm
Okay.
curious about something though, and he grabs like the list of like it's a list of like different buildings, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Do you have a pen? He gestures at Artie,
He waves over at his desk.
and he just sort of starts like finding the addresses and marking them down on the map, one at a time, just so they're all marked.
Okay. We'll say there's 5 addresses in total.
Right. Is there any sort of pattern to them, like that seems relevant in relation to those sites? Or
Yes,
is it just
they're definitely the
completely
areas where Thin Jimmy hangs around.
There's no
They're in a perfect circle.
Buffalo,
and they
Buffalo,
make a
Buffalo corner.
transmutation circle.
there's no specifically visible pattern in terms of the buildings themselves. They're all in the western half of the city. They're in kind of various different districts, or various kind of different like business districts. Only one of them is particularly near the shoreline, but even then it doesn't have direct, like it's not on the seafront. It's back a little bit.
Did Natalia show me like records of the dive taking place, or was it sort of more like this was hidden, like he didn't want anyone to know he was involved in this?
So because all commercial diving explorations have to be recorded in the city, because those types of contracts are very important for navigating the waterways, there were records of each of the dive sites, but they were all done through shell companies. So none of it was paid for directly by Matthias.
I think I probably also brought a copy of the records.
Yeah.
Just to show, like, this shell company goes back to this shell company, you can see, and this one goes back to this one goes back to this one, and then, 5 later.
Yeah.
Here's Matthias. So he went to effort.
Look how blatant this is. Like, one of the shell companies is called Conch.
Oh god.
Actually, one thing that I will say Artie notices is that
associate?
because the majority of companies run through Parlenar are essentially obviously there's the occasional like completely free trading group, but the majority come under the auspices of one of the 12 council families, because that's how they got in the council, by owning all the companies.
Oligarchy for the win.
Yup. And again, there being 12 of them is the only thing preventing monopoly here. But essentially that's the kind of deal. And cause obviously when a deal like this is done, a seal needs affixed next to it to represent the corporation in question. And you recognize a couple of the seals. Not all of them, because there's, dozens and dozens and dozens of smaller families working for the bigger families in, a tiered system. You know yourself that, the Yanis's are under the auspices of the Hestines, but the Yanis's themselves have several smaller kind of branch families who work for them, who of course each have their own markings and so on. And it's the same in the kind of more above boards trading. And the Yanis family does do above boards trading. It's just their main business is crime.
You should do the Avon family.
I know.
We fear the patriarch of the Avon family.
Indeed. Truly a gentleman to be feared for his sales prowess. But you recognize a couple, just a couple, as being smaller. And the thing that tips you off is because you see the symbol and you're like, I know, that's such and such family, and then you go, hang on. That's a really small family. They deal in shipping, like it's not like they own a grocery store chain, but they don't have the kind of money to deal in deep sea exploration. So for their seal to be on this would either have to be a massive windfall or mean that they have a backer. The family in question, you happen to know, well, everybody who works in one of the major families who operate in the kind of primary mercantile space has, it's not like a family tree, but like a kind of like a, there's a public ledger that essentially details all of the families and who their sponsors are. Like this kind of information is highly public. Like the criminal stuff is not, but like any company operating in essentially the open market has to be registered, has to have a sponsor, which is again one of the ways that the council members maintain control and gain fealty from other companies. You have access to such a ledger. You check the family in question, and they were sponsored by. You follow it back far enough, it's Matthias. So that's how it's been covered.
Really despise this worm of a man of late.
The other thing that you
agree
will
more.
note in that chain of sponsored by, once you climb up the ladder, the families implicated are the same ones that Paul mentioned are currently supporting Matthias's faction on the council as things are splintering and looking towards war.
So this is kind of, in a way, because when were these expeditions? Like a while ago, right?
Yeah.
Like
They
months ago.
started years ago.
So this is kind of evidence that it's not like there's tensions of war and, you know, these people are picking sides. It's that he was
He's
gaining
bought them
allies
all.
almost to premeditate a war in advance. I don't know how your world works, but could you use this against him to convince other families that he's trying to incite this war and get their help?
Not that simple, but the information can be of use. It does show us where we need to strike and where some of the safe holds will be.
Yeah, so we have 5
Absolutely.
options.
Sounds like my kind of move.
It also shows potentially how many they have at their disposal who are not of the Gollum persuasion. However, that still leaves us with a touch of the Fae about us at risk, because if he has been here, here, and here, and he's like pointing the circles in the map,
Mm-hmm.
if Matthias has collected something that can affect Fae touched at each of these points, it means we may be only aware of one of 3.
I had that thought too.
Oh, bollocks.
The research notes that we got didn't mention anything about anything else. I seriously doubt Matthias would spend unnecessary resources on 3 separate labs for 3 separate artifacts. But
Yeah.
again,
You
it's
wouldn't keep-
possible.
But if they're all as big and scary and magic as that thing you found in the warehouses, then that's probably a justifiable expenditure.
Well, the thing that
you
attacked
know-
us in the warehouse came from the tunnels. It wasn't in the warehouse to begin with. But those who had changed did call out. I never wanted in this line of business, but here we are. Okay, gentlemen,
What's the plan?
we have work to do.
Indeed we do. So, this looks like the beginning of the score. The way this session is shaped up, I think this is going to be another one of our split sessions where we do all of the planning just now, and then we do the score itself in the next stream. Which I think, given, you know, what we've managed to kind of get off our chests on this stream, I think that's pretty good. I think it's the right way to go about it today.
Yeah, man, we can do the whole thing in and out of 40 minutes. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
That's very taking a mic up so that she can
20
cry.
minutes. Oh.
Right, so
immediately to that gift of Rick and Morty just crying in the car.
Yeah.
Yep. So, we have 5 locations potentially to go and investigate for additional information on what Matthias has been planning, how long for, and what the fuck's going on. In the meantime, everyone else is preparing for war. So that does lead to a second option. And I mean, obviously, I would like all of our things to go on as long as possible, because I love you all and I'm having a great time. But in theory, we are currently at the stage where we can go do that. We can kind of, I don't want to say side quest, but we can move towards galactic preparedness, or we can go and fight the enemy. But in a better way, obviously, than Mass Effect 3, because there will actually be consequences for your choices.
Yeah.
What
But to be
are
fair,
two
it is still
options,
dependent on
sorry?
the multiplayer, so.
I know, right?
What are 2 actual options?
Go and prepare for war. So there's an active invitation from Artie's brother Paul to put the Hestine family and the Hafiz family in touch, create a big faction, and just take the fight straight to Matthias. That basically takes us directly into the end game. So that's an option. But
Yeah.
it means doing so without any further information on the Bloodstone or what the fuck Matthias was doing and why. So
It sounds like that option has the potential to crack things wide open, but there'll be so much manpower and consequences in play that it'll probably go really, if it goes sideways, it'll go sideways in a really fucking big way. And also, there's a small army of golems in there. We don't know. We still need a way to take them out.
It
Okay.
could also get even worse. I feel like this is partially in character, this conversation. I feel like it could also
There's fucking golems.
get worse if he can control the Bloodstone. I mean, I don't have a lick of Fae in me, but if he can turn you guys
Oh,
into
really?
monsters...
I may have a job for you then.
Yeah, but if the Steens and the Fees get together, and go and bloody storm the place. One Fey touched among them, and suddenly everything goes to shit.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
You're
I mean, a lot of people, I feel like in the city are Fey touched. If half our soldiers get turned into monsters, what do we do?
I mean, for
Like,
fuck's sake,
we
even
just
I.
lose.
I mean, for fuck's sake, even I've got a little bit of it in me.
And like, fighting you now is one thing. Fighting you as a roided up plague monster, I'm incredibly good.
Yeah, I'd really rather not.
Okay. So, we think game plan is go and investigate these buildings and try and get some more information on what's gone on with the experiments and the Bloodstone.
Yeah, we can keep like that
Thing
or
is,
as an option
Mm-hmm.
and just postpone it. See if we can try to find out more information.
Alright.
thing is though, we do still have the Ephes and the Esteens as a resource.
Well, let us be honest with ourselves, gentlemen. The three of us are not going to be able to hit up all 5 buildings. We are going to need support in this endeavour.
Yeah.
So, I shall get in contact with my friend Hishak. I suppose I should call him now.
Boss, can I have a word with you?
Ezra's just sort of like sipping his drink. Oh,
In-
should I leave?
Do you mind?
You can stay here, but do not finish the entire decanter. That is expensive.
I'll
And
sip
if
it
you
then.
are going to finish it, at least top up the bottle so I'm none the wiser. Let's go, Monty.
Good plan. He takes another sip.
Monty kind of goes into a side room with Artie. He's like, all right, look. When I came to you in the tunnels after your house was attacked, and you and Paul came charging out the door, and I picked you up and ran to safety. I was looking for you for a specific reason.
Go on.
See, there's this bloke. Real fucking mysterious. And he came to me. And he offered me a job.
Right.
I wasn't spying or nothing. Not on you. But he said he'd look after the kids. He said he'd keep getting them food, protection, the whole thing. All I had to do was stick close to you and let him know what was going on. Because he said he wanted to find out what was the cause of all this plague. And he didn't. He specifically told me, he said you weren't a suspect. He said he didn't think it was anything to do with you, but that you were heading right into the middle of it. And I knew I couldn't let you do that without me, boss, because I owe you.
Want to go? You knew I wouldn't let anything happen to the children. Don't get me wrong, I am very aware of my hands being blacker than black, but the children are not involved in our dealings.
If you're begging my pardon, boss, you've sort of had your hands full in recent times. You've had bigger problems than you've had bigger problems. And this
I look
was,
after my men. You
I know.
unofficially may be one of my men, but we'll speak about the practicalities of that in a future time,
But what
off the record.
but the point I want to make is, this bloke's sneaky. He is. I met him. He knew everything about me, and I mean everything. He knew where I'd been. He knew about me faking my death. He knew about Roslov. He knew about what I'd been doing on the continent.
Ah,
I can talk to him. And I think he can help.
we don't know his affiliations.
That note I gave you was from him. I changed it a bit to make it look like it wasn't.
Why did you do that? Have I not proven myself to you at least, friend?
It was the one condition. I had to keep things simple. It's not that I don't trust you, boss, but he calls himself Ashen. Lord Ashen, he says. And
He sounds like a dark soul.
listen, we need information. We need to find out what's going on in these places. I think he can help.
I'm just going to say as well that Artie does not recognise the name Lord Ashen.
Hall might, but Artie doesn't.
To be fair, even
And
Paul
only as-
probably wouldn't, because Lord Ashen doesn't attend those kinds of parties.
No, he really doesn't.
Yeah,
he's
it's-
like
yeah,
mall
he is-
dude on the fucking corner of the peerage.
Yeah, exactly. Social recluse.
He is.
Yes. With inherited money, not generally involved in the modern free market economy. So yeah, very much.
Elusive scholar is usually the
Yes.
thing.
So in fact, yes, not a particularly prominent or known figure in Parlenar social spheres or politics.
Yeah. Because you're right. We can't hit all of this. And your whole operation's in disarray. There's the three of us. Heart's still laid up. Most of the other people we can call on are either preparing for a war or haven't got a chance of helping us.
I don't like using contacts I have no knowledge of. And
Chris.
I don't like the fact he has information over you.
Chris, can I have a knock at the door, please?
Absolutely, you can. I don't know if that came across on my mic, but there's a knock at the door.
The door opens, and because we're in the safe house, right?
Yeah.
Are you in a side room though? Because wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have
they
to
went
walk past
into.
me?
It's a tunnel person.
Okay.
Oh, it's from a tunnel.
All right. It's me, Billy
All right.
Joe.
Ah, Billy. How's your father doing?
Oh, he's
He's
all
all
right,
right.
really. The sciatica's really fucking him up, though.
Chris, may I?
We're
Yes, you may, Jay. Sorry.
busy in the middle of something. Do you have something you wish to deliver?
Yeah. And Yeah. Billy Joe kind of limps and then closes the door behind him and then fully stands up. Oh. I tell you what, I've had a lot of voices over the years. Yeah, fuck you too. I've had a lot of
Artie
voices.
just
That's a
hand
different
kind of
one.
draws behind him.
Don't, please, Magus. A long day, and I believe that we can both help each other. And frankly, if you shoot me, you're going to have to deal with the cleanup.
Bold of you to assume that I'd be the one dealing with it.
No, but you
I
rather
look
have
to
your
Monty
hands.
going, is this a friend of yours, perchance?
Monty just looks completely nonplussed. Like, what the fuck? Good evening. Oh,
Lord
afternoon.
Ashen, I presume.
At your service.
Creepy fucker.
I told you he was a sneaky fucker. Magus.
Evidently so.
We have actually met before.
That wouldn't surprise me at this point.
Yes, it's a skill, and Athan's voice changes as does his stance, just that little bit, till it's the voice of the constable that he used before. He's very pertinent to our investigations, Magus.
Can't remember the name of said constable.
Inspector
No,
Everett Reese.
No,
It is my pleasure to meet you
No.
once again.
Reese was the other one.
Were you
This is the
Athen
guy who was
Callis?
accompanying Reese. Sorry.
Constable Vladislav Callis.
That was it.
Sorry, I had to get the other character sheet up.
Out of order. Am I just hearing none of this? Is this?
You're currently having fun with my
I'm in a
Canter,
completely different
apparently.
room. I don't hear another room. Another voice I don't recognize from the other room. I just want
not-
to make sure I shouldn't be doing anything.
I mean, they're not speaking loud enough, I don't think, for it to carry through.
No, I imagine they went to a room that I wasn't supposed to hear the conversation anyway.
Yeah.
So
Unless
I
you've got
imagine
your ear to the
I just
door
don't
with
want
a
to regret it
glass.
later.
Like,
No, I'm probably spinning around on the office chair.
My apologies for my sudden entrance, Magus Yanis. I
Despise that name.
Then my apologies for using it. I have been shadowing Montague all day.
He appears to be having quite the 12 o'clock shadow, doesn't he?
Well, between myself and your drowned falcon, that's an impressive set of stalkers he's managed to acquire. I understand that from the conversation that I was just eavesdropping on, that you are planning on making a move against Chancellor Matthias.
It is one of our plans. It's not quite in the pipeline yet.
Then I would like to assist. I would like to offer my services.
And how would you, pray tell, like to do that?
While I do not quite possess the dexterity and acrobatic skill of your Mr. Abagini, I am rather adept at entering places where I should not necessarily be.
I've noticed.
Yes. And I have rather a gift for observation. So if you are wishing to acquire information or small assets from...
What would be the cost?
Let me see now.
Because I am
Maybe-
aware of a person with your skill sets does not come lightly.
Well, traditionally my services are not cheap. But we're very lucky in that this rather coincides with my own investigations.
Which are?
Montague was right. I want to find out the origins of this so-called phantasm plague. I want to find out why, like the why, the how, the who, etc., etc., and most importantly, how to stop it. This entire city has ground to a standstill. The island is cut off. The people are starving. Parlenar is not long from rioting. If we do not get this under control, if we do not free the people, if we do not cure the phantasm plague, this whole island will burn. And that would be rather counterproductive to my interests. Any of our interests, frankly. Breathing in and out being chief among them. All I want is that at the end of this, we have Matthias, either imprisoned or dead. That's all I want.
That is not a promise I can keep, depending on the state of affairs that we may find ourselves in during said riots, should they come to fruition. But I will endeavour to uphold my part. But I don't like the fact I know little of you.
I have a great many names and a great many endeavours. In the underworld, I often go by Greyhand. Although you may have also heard, possibly, of the Ghost Baron.
Hey Chris, have I heard of the Ghost Baron?
The Ghost Baron is an urban myth.
You will have heard of the urban myth. Jay, please tell us the urban myth that you've created for my world.
I told you about this when I was building up Athan's backstory.
Probably, and I've almost certainly forgotten it. Tell us about the Ghost Baron.
The Ghost Baron is a con man that is... He's kind of like a boogeyman of higher society, where people blame him for mysterious incidents. Nobody actually thinks he's real. He's usually what people, when someone says, oh, it was the Ghost Baron, they're usually covering for they fucked up and did something stupid, and they want to blame some mythical figure. While not all the stories are true, a good number of them are.
I've read Monty, the Ghost Baron, and the Magician, the Dragon Slayer.
Yes, that was rather entertaining, wasn't it? The Dragon Slayer.
I'm starting to feel the need for a moniker myself, however. Artie takes his hand from his back and holds it out to shake.
Athan reaches out with his prosthetic hand.
Artie raises an eyebrow.
Yes, during that warehouse raid where Lady Hastine decided to drop in with some of her more militant friends. It was a hell of a job getting out. I unfortunately lost an arm in the process.
I'm sorry to hear that. It was a rather busy night.
Certainly was.
I suppose we should introduce you to the last member of our party then, if you are to work with us. Though I have a feeling you already have all of their details.
Oh, you'd be surprised at how elusive Mr. Abajuni can be.
I'm working on it.
I'd love to compare notes sometime.
My friend. Well,
You hear Ezra sneeze from the other
Let-
room.
let's just say that he was involved in a dealing where the Ghost Baron stole a painting.
Indeed.
I was gonna say, I feel like throughout the time, like throughout Ezra's career, at least one or two things of his have been blamed on the Ghost Baron.
Some of this shit, yeah. The Ghost Baron is sometimes blamed for like more kind of social issues that have happened, but
one person's like, I swear to God, I gave it to the Ghost Baron.
Yeah, the ones that are not direct, that are not actually Athan, a number of them will be Esra.
Because they don't want to admit that they got something stolen.
Yeah, they don't want to admit that they got conned.
Yeah.
Artie opens the door and finds Ezra.
I'm like, I'm like mid pouring the decanter into a flask. I'll put it back.
Wow.
I slowly put it down. I thought you'd take longer.
Did you know?
Who's that?
It's your
Oh,
new
you
best
must be-
friend.
And you must be the infamous Dragon
Certainly.
Slayer.
I am starting to hate that name, but yes. But seriously, who's that? I like to look at Monty as well.
You can call me Greyhand.
Do we have teleportation now, or am I?
No, I
Okay.
walked
Well-
in straight past you.
I see.
You must have been enjoying my flask ever so much, Ezra.
I'm
Little
not.
tunnel person.
Oh, I would have let him in because I thought he was.
Yeah. You let
Where's
me in.
Where's
Mr.
Billy?
Abajuni.
Where's Billy gone? I noticed you're like wearing similar stuff, but like.
Oh, in like
You been Billy the whole time?
no.
Thank God, I love that guy.
Say, Greyhand,
I'm gonna.
jacket
stop
does
drinking.
look awful big on you.
Oh yes, of course. He is going to.
Different Billy,
Straight up
guys. This
and-
is this was a different Billy.
Yeah.
I know. I'm
Different
trying to
Billy.
make a reference though.
I know
He's
you are.
going to take off the kind of oily smock, going to twist it and turn it back, and Athan's long grey coat is on.
I thought it was the same Billy, my bad.
No.
It's alright.
There's
don't
a lot
worry.
of Billies. That was the joke.
There's old. Wait, so it's Billy, Bob, and Old Bill. Those are the three that we.
This is Billy,
No, there's like 14 more.
Billy Bob, Billy Joe Armstrong, Billy Jean, Billy Jemima, Billy
Billy Joel.
Bob,
Oh,
just Bob, Billy
As
Banana
well as his
Ramas,
brothers, Jenkins Trevens and Hell.
William.
Kevin.
Yeah, exactly.
I more meant ones that have been like in the show.
Yeah. Well, that was a joke we made like a couple of weeks ago
I
that
know,
I
I
forgot to
remember.
clip, where it was like, no, there's like 14 guys all named Bill.
Yeah, we just assumed this
So I
is
just
a
like knew this
family
guy
of
and
Bills.
went, yeah, on you go.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the point of a disguise, isn't it?
I
Yeah.
knew he worked for Artie.
And they all sound the same. But yeah,
Because Chris has got one Brummy accent and he refuses to change it.
I barely have a Brummy accent I can do. It is horrendous.
I put the flask in my pocket.
You will put that flask back on my desk right now. So help me.
Okay, well, it's my flask, but and he pours it back. Fair enough. Puts it back in his pocket.
Quash.
The concept of hygiene is somewhat alien to you, isn't it?
I washed it
With what?
at home before I got here. It was empty.
Just take the last of the whiskey for the love of God.
Looked really good.
All
and
right,
for some
gentlemen, let's
reason,
get down
all my
to business.
whiskey dealers have been refusing to sell to me for the last few weeks, so I'm really like.
So,
few episodes ago,
as
Artie
we
made sure it was difficult for Esra to get whiskey on purpose. To fuck
Oh yeah,
As
I've
we-
forgotten about
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Oh my god.
as
Oh,
we
man.
make a shift towards, I just want to make a quick point of order.
Sure.
I would like to be playing Monty going forward, and just Athan is an asset.
Yes.
Yep.
That was
That's fair.
agreed already. That's fine.
I know. I just wanted to make that was agreed between you and me, Chris. I just wanted to make that aware to the table.
All right. Yeah.
I thought you were just gonna play two characters at the same time. I'm gonna be totally honest with you, and I was like, okay.
I mean, I think I could do it for like a session. I don't think I could do it for more than that.
Well, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna wrap up here with the understanding that at the start of next session we are going to have a clear plan on. But actually, scratch that. Let's make a decision. So that when we come back for the next session, we know which building we're gonna hit. Let's do some prep just now. So we need to find out which of these 5 buildings we're gonna attack. Not attack, or which one is the relevant one to investigate. Essentially, we have established that we now have Athan's network as part of our preparation, and that Athan will have a role as part of that prep, which is great. But we still need to check all 5 of the buildings and decide which one we're gonna go to for the main score. So, does anyone have any thoughts, ideas, feelings that they think they can get out in 10 minutes or less?
Yes, roll a d6 to decide.
Yes.
I was
Very.
gonna say,
Yes,
do we know
yes,
anything?
Fletch and my hunt.
Okay. Fraser?
I was thinking like the most recent building acquired might be like, where he's, because a guy like that, he's gonna move his stuff around a lot. So like, if he knows he's being suspected on, he might have gotten somewhere new and moved all the shit there. So it might be worth checking out the most recent one.
Okay, so we've got check the most recent one first. I suppose your suggestion is kind of like split up and recon type suggestion, with you and Fletch obviously being point on one of the teams. And Jay, yours was random number generation.
I was slightly taking the piss, yes.
Okay.
Because we need to find out what each of these buildings is for.
Yes.
So I don't know what Monty could really contribute in this section, but I think sending Athan off to do as Artie is doing, but on a different building.
Okay. Well then, essentially, I suppose
Exterior recon.
I suppose then
I
we've
could
got.
scout a building as well.
Well, I think then that what that means is that we've got 4 people to scout 4 of the 5 buildings. So each of you is going to take a building and do an initial exterior scout, and if you can get in to look around, then all the better. We're not going to play this out. We're going to essentially pick a series of roles. Yes, Jay?
How badly fucked up is Heart?
Sufficiently badly
That could
fucked
be a
up that
fist.
he's not going to take part in this. But remember,
Cool.
if you rule out all 4 of those buildings, you know it's the 5th one.
That's true, but I'd still rather have at least some info on the 5th one.
I know.
That can be included in like flashbacks
Yeah.
and stuff.
So, I think what we're going to need to do then is we're going to need to do some rolls. And actually, I have a really obnoxious, mean-spirited, cruel, and unusual way of doing that.
Is that a cliffhanger?
I love it.
It's a cliffhanger, folks! We're going to go and do this off-screen in the behind-the-scenes in our after show, and you need to all sign up to Jonathan's Patreon so that you can see what we get up to. So, that has been our stream. It's been very chill, it's been very lovely, but we had a lot of really big heartfelt moments, and that is nice to have sometimes. So, if you want to catch the rest of our episodes of Blades in the Dark, you can find them on YouTube. If you want to know when these streams go live, you should join our Discord. If you want to see our after show where we're about to go and commit further crimes, then you need to join the Patreon. All of the links are in the description or the box or whichever platform it is that we're on. Also, if you ever want to play in a game like this, but with more prep, better stuff in it, and like a fabulously done VTT, then you should go and sign up to Jay's Games on just Start Playing. Start Playing?
Start playing dog games.
Start Playing Dog Game.
Haven't got anything in the pipeline yet, folks, but I'm looking to build up some stuff over summer.
Absolutely. So keep an eye on there for some madcap delightful fun. In the meantime, though, we will see you over on Patreon for the after show. Good night, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.